All right, guys, we are back, and today we are going to be looking at one simple thing: gold. How we get it, and what the best way to get it is. So, there's not really a hidden method, really, other than if you like auto farm something overnight with a tiny task. But if you're manually farming it, the best way is going to be Metal Rush. It's a pretty well-known thing. It's not hidden. It's not special. It's Metal Rush on Challenger difficulty. Gets 4 times drop, gets you the most value. In order to clear that, you have to use or clear those metal units. You have to use critical units because they do true damage, which hits past their armor, hits them for full value. There are a few exceptions like Gojo's Cosmic or other units Cosmic or Maharaga from Megami. With that, I've looked over the AWTD tier list, done some testing, and really I think the variance is so small between all of them, but like honestly, these 4 units are the ones that stood out to me the most in terms of how they progress or where they're placed on there and how easy they are to get. So we're going to kind of be going through a few varying teams, including Nanami and his unevoed version, his first Evo, Mage Child and his first Evo, because his unevoed version is worthless, and his Evo was so easy to get that you should just get it. Megami and his second Evo with Maharaga. And then finally, we're going to actually look at Overhaul's first Evo and second Evo and see how they kind of hold up in comparison to everything. So without further ado, let's get in there and let's check out the first team. All right, so we have the first team here, and it is going to actually be unevoed Nanami. I did leave that on for some reason. Let's flip him back over. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and use unevoed Nanami here. And just to be clear, I do have him completely maxed out, just for reference so you can see it. So the supports, so we're going to just use him and supports. Realistically, early on, that's probably going to be your best bet, right? Because these units are so easy to pull. They're all just legendaries. There's no Evos. The hardest one is going to be Idol, but I'll be honest, she's kind of a requirement in the game. And you can use some of these crit units that we talk about to actually get her and make her easier to grind for you, because she does have metal units in her event. So with that, you can use Nanami to work towards her. You can use Mage Child's Evo to work towards her. You can do all these things, and they will help you. If we need a guide on that, let me know, and I can put out a guide on how to easily farm her. More than happy to do that. But really, the reason we're looking at this is he applies paralysis, which slows him down. He has his ability Shambles that pulls him back and knocks him back, so that's great. Dio for consistent time stop. That's just a skin I have. Then this is All Might. He's going to give a 50% buff to Nanami's damage. And finally, Flower Magus, who is a 40% range buff. So all of these, honestly, you can just pull them straight from the banner. You're good to go. Highly recommend. Definitely going for them. They're worth it. All of them, right? They all have a function, especially early game. They're going to help you out as supports for varying different teams. So without further ado, let's get in and see how Nanami performs. I mean, it's a lot of money if you don't have a lot, right? Almost 800k is pretty good. It's definitely not bad. It's definitely good money you can use there. Again, but that was a fully maxed Nanami. That's a level 55 Nanami with 115 damage. So that's like an ideal circumstance, which you're not going to have right away. So honestly, I would expect it to definitely do less. It's going to perform worse. The one I would actually recommend mostly for new players is this team that we have here. Evoed Mage Child. This Mage Child, outside of his role, because I mean, very quickly, I actually hit a god roll in him almost, right? So this is awesome, but he's not limit broken or anything. Just very simple. We're using him as his own leader. He's a super easy Evo. You should get him for early game. He is phenomenal. He'll help you get idle. He'll help you with a bunch. Get him. He's worth it. If you're a new player, that is. So again, we're using the same supports because we just want to compare them. He does end up full AoE, which is going to be awesome. So without a doubt, without further ado, let's get in. Let's see how our boy Mage Child, Rudius Grey Rat, let's see how he does. Well, I'm going to be honest. I was a bit of a Mage Child hater. I actually didn't believe in him. I thought my Nanami was going to prove strong, be the big bad money maker. Turns out it's not. It's Rudius. Rudius just beat him out, plain and simple. And that was a maxed Nanami. It's not even like I could max that Rudius and he'll probably do even better. So if you're a new player, get Rudius. He will help you grind money. He'll help you grind idol. Please just get him. He did great. He's awesome. Now we're going to move into the kind of the next tier. This is like kind of middle gamey because the raid's not super easy, but it's not hard. You could definitely clear it without a problem. That's going to be first Evo overhaul here, right? So first Evo overhaul isn't bad. Again, my overhaul, very similar to my Nanami, is maxed. The roll is not as good, obviously, but he is level 65. So he is going to perform better than yours will, period, right? If you only have him at first Evo, he is level 40, 25 levels lower. That's a very big difference. He will not perform as well. We're also going to switch him up at a leader because his leader is like 50% villains. His leader's not good. So we're going to use overhaul because we're going to use him as a support, and he does fall into that category. So we're going to give this a shot. I'm expecting that this should do well considering how leveled up he is, but I'm not sure how well. So let's see. Well, there it is. Almost 900,000. That's, I mean, like, speaks for itself. Obviously, he would do less if you had him. It's not going to be as crazy because you're not going to have him at the same level. That's just not, that just is what it is. That's just what I have the test for it. Did really well, though. Definitely did really well. It's definitely a unit's worth getting as you're going to progress into him naturally to get it the big overhaul at some point. And again, we're going to test big overhaul. And if you're noticing, he's not next up on the list. He is further down, meaning he probably does better, meaning you should probably work towards him at some point so you have good money farm anyway. Just a hint, just an idea personally. But anyway, next up is going to be this Evo Nanami. We're going to do him same team as before. Get in there and test. He is going to do probably fairly well again. He's maxed out. I'm expecting him to do good. I'm a big Nanami fan. This unit is awesome. You place him down and he has 70% chance to crit, which should hit the metals. Makes early game like a breeze. The one thing I will say is this definitely requires less thinking than any of the other teams. He is so easy to use. So we'll see how he does. I'm not sure though if Nanami's good by himself or if you kind of have to use him with somebody else for him to really shine, but let's take a look here. All right, well, he did worse. He did worse than Overhaul's first Evo, so I guess it's time for me to finally admit that maybe Nanami just isn't as good as I thought he was. No, he's still absurd. He's really good for the idle raid, even his uneven version. I will not accept these results. I will probably keep trying until I can prove that he is overpowered. He's not, but he's sick. Great character. But yeah, he didn't do as well. They're both maxed, so that's not even really contention. I think overall actually has a worse roll than the Nanami, so really, I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna have to give it to the first Evo. Overall, he's just gonna make it pretty great. But if you want to not think at all, you can use Nanami, and it's close, right? Nanami is definitely harder to get, and with that, as you grind towards your Nanami, you're gonna be making progress towards overhaul, or vice versa, right? As you go and grind towards this overhaul, you're getting your peace medals, you're getting your chaos medals for the respective sides, right? Chaos medals for overhaul, peace medals for Nanami. So really it's a 2-for-1, right? So you end up getting both. If you're farming, it is what it is. But this is the team here that we're going to use for the final one, right? So this is where we get into the end game. We're looking at kind of what is the best, who do we use, who do we really like. And for this one, this is kind of the setup I've chosen. Some people are saying not to use Merlin, that Merlin's not worth it, and that you should just, do the attack in range until he covers everything, then just go to flat attack, and instead bring like Portal Stallion or even a damage buff. I'm using Merlin because it's just what I've done, and it's great, and I can just spam attack and just try to get more damage. This is what I've found to work best, and that's why this is my preference. But if I'm doing it wrong, let me know. I'm more than happy to try something down, and if there is, I will put a comment stating otherwise down below. So check and see if you see that. If it's down there, I have done additional testing, and I'll correct that. But without a doubt, let's get in there. I have a feeling that this is going to be insane. I already know that this is going to be insane. And with that, it was, at least for how I played it. I could have done something wrong. If I did something wrong, or if this isn't the team you use, let me know. Please tell me how to do it better. I would love to know so I can properly use this team, or I can properly represent that what's on that tier list. Because right now, this isn't beating Overhaul, and it sure as heck required a lot more effort to make it work. Because like I have to place Nanamis and only upgrade him, and then it's a little tighter on the timing, so then I have to kind of play around these with getting them down fast and using their abilities. It wasn't as smooth as how it was with Overhaul, right? Overhaul was fairly brainless, to be completely honest with you, and it's not like my Megami has like bad rolls or isn't maxed out. Like, this thing is crazy. It's great. It's just, it doesn't really do much, right? It didn't really, like, it did well. It did better than everything else, but it didn't beat Overhaul. So again, that's my final thoughts, right? I'm going to say, like, early game, Mage Child, get him. Abuse him. Use him. He's awesome. You can use him for so much. He's great. Get Mage Child. Then in your middle game, maybe start working on your Overhaul. You can kind of use that first Evo Overhaul, even Mage Child, maybe blend in some other crit units or something. Test out what works for you, but that's where I'm kind of seeing is that first Evo Overhaul and probably Nanami or Mage Child. Like, those still are good mid game. End game, Overhaul. Overhaul is the best gold farm, personally. Again, prove or show me or tell me I'm wrong, and I'll test it. If there's any differences, I'll put them down in the comments. That's it. That's really how you make gold, though, right? It's just farming with Metal Rush with these units and optimizing how efficiently it goes. If you have anything else here, then yeah, that's about it. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Would appreciate it. And I'll see y'all in the next one.